Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
It's a beautiful start to the day, lots of sunshine, but it's chilly this morning. We do have colder air in our forecast later this week that's here to stay for a while. I'll show you that coming up.
Finding ways to stop weapons from getting inside these school buildings. That's exactly what school districts across the area are doing right now. We are live in Harnett County with a look at what's being considered here.
And what we can expect tonight from Governor Cooper's State of the State address happening at the General Assembly. That is where you are looking live. We'll get you all caught up on that and much more. Thanks for joining us on your Monday. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. You see those just a few clouds over Dix Park, over Raleigh here from this camera, over the legislative building. Look pretty clear. A cool start, certainly, but we're starting to warm up already. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
We warmed all the way up to 48. It's feeling great out there. Yeah, but we will warm up nicely this afternoon into the 70s, and tomorrow looks beautiful as well. Lots of sunshine. Gorgeous view here of the DBAP there in Durham this morning with lots of sunshine. Our temperature in the Triangle is in the upper 40s right now, along with Fayetteville. It's 47 in Rocky Mount. We still have 36 in Roxborough, but Roxborough dropped down to 32 earlier this morning, and we had a lot of towns in the 30s this morning. Now, tomorrow morning is going to be much milder, but after that, we get into Wednesday and beyond, and temperatures are going to be looking much different. 73, our high this afternoon, and if you're not able to get out and about until 6 or 7, it's still going to be mild in the mid to upper 60s. Coming up, we'll talk about when the temperatures drop and how long they'll stay cooler. Brian?
Here at 8:01, almost 8:02, we've been following these backups in Knightdale on 87 southbound. We had an earlier crash around Smithfield Road. That has cleared, but we are still seeing a little bit of a backup through that area. However, with every update of the sensors, it seems to be getting better. About a 4-minute slowdown overall on 87 southbound, but those delays beginning right around the 64 business interchange through Wendell Falls Parkway. And once you get to Smithfield Road, it looks like traffic's flowing freely. Looks like some bigger delays showing up right now in southeast Raleigh with a crash on New Hope Road around Maybrook Crossing Drive. That is just south of Pool Road. You can see some heavy backups in both directions through that area, so allow some extra time. On the northern side of Wake County, up around Wake Forest, a crash on Highway 98 around Thompson Mill Road. Latest sensor updates indicate that this may be easing a little bit. They have perhaps cleared some of that crash at least. Still seeing a little bit of a backup there on the western side of Wake Forest. A crash on the southwest side of Raleigh on 40 eastbound, right around the Gorman Street interchange. And we're starting to see some backups there on 40 eastbound beginning around US 1 out toward Gorman Street. By the time you get to Lake Wheeler Road and South Saunders Street, it looks like traffic's flowing pretty well. We're seeing a little bit of a westbound delay there, although it appears to be just typical congestion and not related directly to that crash. The usual delay showing up in both directions of 885 in Durham between I-40 and the 147 split, and north of Hillsborough, or rather north of Chapel Hill heading toward Hillsborough, we have a crash reported on Old 86 near New Hope Church Road. At the moment, at least, we're not seeing any delays on those sensor readings.
All right, thank you, Brian. After a rash of threats and guns found on school campuses across our viewing area, today another district is reviewing whether to install weapons detection systems. Just in the last 3 weeks, 2 loaded guns have been found in Harnett County, one at Irwin Elementary and another at Star Academy in Lillington. WRAL's Laura Levine is live in Lillington with what school leaders are doing to keep everyone safe. Laura?
The Harnett County Schools Board of Education has a few options that they're going to be looking at in regards to security, and they really want to protect students inside these school buildings. Now, I was able to look at that 10-page presentation, which shows the weapons detection systems under consideration, which is called an open gate system or an evolve system that has double lanes with multiple alarms. Now, this discussion comes after a string of threats against schools in surrounding counties, mainly social media threats. But last month, Harnett County Schools had 2 incidents. Just last week, a student brought a loaded gun to school here. This morning, we learned Nash County Schools is set to be the latest district to beef up security. A school board member says tonight Nash Schools will finalize a plan to spend $1 million to set up weapons detection systems at every high school in the district. Security upgrades are already in process in Wake, Granville, Johnston, and Person County schools. Johnston County is in the process right now of installing those detection systems, and Wake school leaders say they don't have any plans of installing any metal detectors in their schools. Again, here in Harnett County, we are going to learn more information about what could possibly be coming here soon as that meeting begins at 6 p.m. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Lillington.
Tonight, we'll get some insight into Governor Roy Cooper's priorities as he enters his final stretch in office. This is a live look at the General Assembly, where the governor will deliver his State of the State address before a joint session, 7 p.m. tonight. We'll be looking for themes like education and racial equity. Climate change may also be a big focus. Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson will deliver the Republican response immediately after the governor's speech. You can watch it all live at 7 p.m. on WRAL and on WRAL News Plus. And you can get WRAL News Plus wherever you stream on the WRAL News app and on WRAL.com. It's also available on Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257. You can also listen to WRAL News Plus on the radio. Go to 99.3 in Raleigh, 96.5 in Durham, and 101.5 HD3 across the entire triangle.
A man who is facing first-degree murder charges after the death of a 4-year-old in Goldsboro is expected to make his first appearance in court today. Police arrested 31-year-old Umoja Bryant on Friday. They say a 4-year-old girl was brought lifeless to the emergency room at UNC Health Wayne a day earlier. Bryant is accused of beating that child to death. Police say a 5-year-old boy was also found with similar injuries. He was treated at the hospital and released.
New this morning, 4 Americans kidnapped in Mexico may have ties to North Carolina. The FBI says the 4 were riding in a white minivan with a North Carolina license plate when they crossed over the border from Texas into northern Mexico on Friday. Agents say men with the guns fired shots at their car and then kidnapped them shortly after they entered the country. The FBI is offering a $50,000 reward for their return. The agency has not released the names of the people who were kidnapped.
And breaking news, we've learned in the last hour, a 5th person has died after a fiery crash. This crash happened yesterday on Highway 13 in Cumberland County at Hayfield Road. That's a rural area between Eastover and Wade. Troopers say the driver of an SUV ran through the stop sign on Hayfield Road and into the path of an oncoming tractor trailer. 5 people in the SUV were thrown from that vehicle. At first, we were told 4 of them died and the 5th was airlifted to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Troopers told us around 7 o'clock this morning that person has died. The driver of the tractor trailer was also taken to the hospital, but is expected to recover.
The closure of a busy intersection near the state fairgrounds could start tomorrow after it was delayed this weekend. Those road crews were planning to close the intersection of Blue Ridge Road and Hillsborough Street this weekend. The DOT postponed the work, though, because of weather. The plan is to make Blue Ridge Road pass underneath Hillsborough Street, under the railroad tracks, as well as Barrel Road. The DOT says it's all part of a larger construction plan to make that intersection safer for people who go to events in the area.
Another railroad crossing in Wake Forest is due to close today as CSX repair work continues there. The crossing at Ligon Mill Road is expected to be closed today as the rail company works to upgrade it. CSX says other crossings in Wake Forest that have been getting upgrades are reopened. The crossing at Holding Avenue, which was closed through the weekend, is also expected to reopen today as well.
Federal investigators will be at the site of another train derailment in Ohio today as questions grow about Norfolk Southern's safety record. 28 cars jumped the tracks near Springfield, Ohio on Saturday. It's near Dayton, Ohio. It's about 200 miles southwest of East Palestine, Ohio, where a train carrying toxic chemicals derailed last month. Officials say there were no such chemicals in these cars that derailed this time. The people who lived nearby were asked to shelter in place overnight as a precaution. And Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown says he wants more answers.
I'm not entirely satisfied because I want to know there are some sort of remnants of something that might have been in those cars. Those cars were mostly empty, but I want to know if there are any contaminants sort of left in those mostly empty cars.
Super puzzling. This is the 4th Norfolk Southern derailment in Ohio in the last 5 months.
Just ahead for us, self-driving vehicles are arriving in the Triangle today. How this new shuttle and carry will be used to help people in our area. Plus.
Yeah, new video shows chaos in the cabin of a Southwest flight. In our next half hour, the unusual reason investigators are giving for all this.
And a nice mild day today and tomorrow. Temperatures climbing into the low to mid 70s during the afternoons. But notice how much cooler it gets for the rest of the week. Mostly 50s and some overnight lows in the 30s. I'll show you why the pattern is changing and how long it will stay chilly.
Coming up at 13 minutes after the 8 o'clock hour, blue skies in the Sandhills. You're looking live right now. Pinehurst Resort and Country Club, home of the famed Pinehurst #2. They're getting ready to go out there. It is going to be a beautiful day for golf in the Sandhills. Elizabeth Gardner and the WRAL Severe Weather Center. They're in the mid-40s just like we are right now.
Yeah, beautiful. It's a little bit chilly this morning, but we're going to climb into the 70s this afternoon. And here's a look at the DBAP. Lots of sunshine over downtown Durham right now. Where it's the, typically it's April when we see the home opener at the DBAP, but it's actually the end of March this year. I'm afraid it's going to be chilly. We're getting ready to move into a much colder period, and I'm not sure that we'll be out of it by the end of March. Right now it's 48 degrees. We climb into the upper 60s at lunchtime and into the low 70s for highs this afternoon. So today looks beautiful, and so does tomorrow. And then we're going to change everything up, and we're going to walk through why that is over the next couple of minutes. We're now all in the 40s, looking at 47 in Southern Pines, 43 Goldsboro, 41 in Roxboro. But a lot of folks are seeing temperatures in the 30s just a couple of hours ago. Nice warm afternoon. It's going to be a fast warm up to 73 in Durham, 72 in Rocky Mount, 74 in Southern Pines, and 75 in Clinton. So it's going to feel great this afternoon. You can see these warm temperatures here shown in the red colors, and you can see the blues showing up as we get through the next several hours or several days, and that's going to keep our temperatures a little bit cooler. Our normal high is 60, so 73 on Monday, 74 on Tuesday. That's going to be well above normal, and we're back to nearly normal Wednesday and Thursday. Friday, we turn cooler. Friday, we're going to end up with the potential for some scattered showers, and we'll talk more about that coming up in just a little bit. Our temperatures, of course, mild for today and tomorrow, and then we see colder air filtering in. We're going to see temperatures in the 50s and low 60s for Wednesday through the weekend. But next week, by next Wednesday, we see what looks to be an Arctic blast that comes through. We don't often see that in March, but I've definitely seen years where it's been really warm in either January or February, and then we cool back down in March. So it's something that definitely happens from time to time. Looking ahead, the mid to latter part of March, the 13th through the 19th, we have a good chance of below normal temperatures for the whole country, really. So it's not just us. Tomorrow morning is not bad at 54, but after that, you may want to find your winter coat. I will be 38 on Wednesday morning, 35 Thursday morning, 41 Friday. We're back into the 30s again on Sunday. We do have rain in the forecast for Friday. It's likely to be the second half of the day and Friday night, but we'll walk through that hour by hour on Futurecast coming up. On Saturday, we'll start to see some clearing. Saturday night, we push our clocks ahead 1 hour. We lose that hour of sleep, but we do see more daylight in the evening on Sunday. Brian?
8:15 right now. We've got a couple of crashes in southwest Raleigh causing some pretty big delays. First of all, on 440 eastbound, a crash around the Jones-Franklin Road interchange. Looks like it's just beyond Jones-Franklin Road, just before you get to the Athens Drive Bridge area. Heavy delays on that northbound side of US 1 coming in from Cary. The backups begin between Cary Parkway and Walnut Street, and it's solidly backed up through the I-40 interchange. If you can pick up 440 eastbound from Western Boulevard or Melbourne Road, that will put you on the other side of those backups. Also have a crash on the north side of Raleigh at Capitol Boulevard at Durant Road. Seeing some pretty heavy southbound delays leaving Wake Forest this morning. Another crash that will affect your ride out of Wake Forest into North Raleigh on Falls of Neuse Road at Lake Villa Way, which is not too far from Raven Ridge Road. Seeing some pretty heavy backups there. Both of those are reportedly crashes with injuries, so it may be a little while before they're cleared. In Wake Forest, I want to give you a heads up about a crossing that is closed today, a railroad crossing there at Ligon Mill Road. This is part of that wide-ranging CSX project to upgrade a lot of those crossings through Wake Forest. It's going to be closed at some point today. They hope to reopen the Holding Avenue crossing at some point today. It's been closed through the weekend.
All right, thank you, Brian. Opioids and transportation are on the agenda as the Vance County Board of Commissioners meets tonight. Members will discuss the second wave of money from a settlement with top opioid makers and whether to accept the deal. It would mean more than $2.7 million coming to Vance County in the next 13 years. Also, the CARTS transportation system is asking for extra money. That's so they can stay afloat as they deal with driver shortages. Tonight's meeting starts at 6.
There's renewed interest in reopening the King Khalid Mosque on the campus of Shaw University in Raleigh. The Council on American Islamic Relations hosted a town hall yesterday to address the need for the mosque. Speakers shared how communities in our area can counter Islamophobia and promote justice and peace. The mosque closed in 2020 because of the pandemic, and it has remained off limits ever since. And we should note, because Shaw is a private Baptist school, it is not required to accommodate other faiths.
A series of poisonings targeting schoolgirls in Iran appears to be more widespread than previously thought. The Iranian government just revealed that over 50 schools have been affected since November, with more than 400 students getting sick. Reports suggest nearly all of them are girls' schools. The reason for the poisonings is unclear, but investigators think the girls could be targeted for just going to school. And Iran will be a big focus of Defense Secretary and former Fort Bragg Commander Lloyd Austin this week. New video on Fox 50 Now shows him in Jordan for a trip that includes stops in Israel and Egypt. The visit comes as the Biden administration coordinates with regional leaders over tensions with Iran.
President Joe Biden is back in Washington today after visiting Selma, Alabama for a ceremony marking 58 years since Bloody Sunday. President Biden walked with community members and activists, including Reverends Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. They walked across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, where on March 7th, 1965, 600 people marched from Selma to Montgomery in support of voting rights and were attacked there by state troopers. President Biden says voting rights are still under attack.
The right to vote, to have your vote counted, is the threshold of democracy and liberty. With it, anything's possible. Without it, without that right, nothing is possible. And this fundamental right remains under assault. The conservative Supreme Court has gutted the Voting Rights Act over the years.
He also urged Congress to pass 2 stalled voting rights bills.
2 potential Republican rivals in the 2024 race for president are sharing their visions for the U.S. Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis, who has not officially declared his candidacy, is focused on schools.
What is the purpose of having a school system? You know, the left thinks the purpose is to use your tax dollars and use public institutions to impose an ideological agenda.
DeSantis hinted in this speech yesterday about how his leadership is different from that of former President Donald Trump. Trump, meanwhile, took jabs at DeSantis and sent a warning to Americans in a speech on Saturday.
The sinister forces trying to kill America have done everything they can to stop me, to silence you, and to turn this nation into a socialist dumping ground for criminals, junkies, Marxists, thugs, radicals.
While DeSantis has not announced a run for president, he has fueled speculation after booking speaking tours across Florida to discuss his record as governor.
The world's top-ranked tennis player will not be in an event this weekend in Indian Wells, California. Novak Djokovic just announced his withdrawal from the tournament. It comes a week after he shared that he applied for a waiver to get around the COVID-19 vaccine mandate for foreign travelers coming to the U.S. It's Djokovic's 4th year missing this tournament. The U.S. Tennis Association has supported his waiver application.
We are less than a week out from the Oscars, but there are other award shows happening in the big lead up. David Daniels shows us in today's Hollywood Minute.
I am really good.
I don't believe you.
There seem to be very few non-believers left in Hollywood. Everything Everywhere All at Once has dominated the Film Independent Spirit Awards, winning Best Feature, Best Director, Best Screenplay, Best Lead Performance for Michelle Yeoh, Best Supporting Performance for Ke Huy Quan, Best Breakthrough Performance for Stephanie Hsu, and Best Editing. The film leads the way with 11 Oscar nominations going into Sunday's 95th Academy Awards. Another Best Picture nominee at the Oscars, Top Gun: Maverick, captured hardware of its own over the weekend. The high-flying sequel won top honors at the Cinema Audio Society Awards for outstanding achievement in sound mixing. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio won the Audio Award for animated films. It's up for Best Animated Feature Film at the Oscars.
Surely there must be something worth living for in this life, not only the next.
Women Talking took the film prize at the 35th Annual USC Scripter Awards, which honors adaptations of written work for the screen, with screenwriters and original writers sharing the prize. In this case, screenwriter Sarah Polley and author Miriam Taves. And yes, Women Talking is up for Best Adapted Screenplay at Sunday's Oscars. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Starting today, a pilot program testing out a new self-driving shuttle in Cary. An autonomous shuttle will be driving people around Bond Park starting today at noon. The town will test run the shuttle for the next few months. It'll take a 4-stop route on weekdays from the Cary Senior Center to the Bond Park Community Center. And today, the town of Wendell celebrates its 120th birthday. The town plans to premiere a special video on its history today at noon on its social media pages and website. And coming up, Boris, an urgent plea from Wake County's animal shelter. The deal it's offering for you for adoptions as it nears maximum capacity.
Plus, a coordinated attack on Atlanta police is caught on camera. What officers say motivated this assault on a new facility?
Listen to WRAL News Plus on your radio in Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Happy Monday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey with your top stories. We have to talk about the weather because it's going to be a beautiful day outside. A little chilly now, Elizabeth, but temperatures will warm up.
Temperatures are in the 40s in Rocky Mount, Durham, and in Fayetteville, but it is so pretty. We've got sunshine all across the viewing area right now. We'll warm up into the 70s this afternoon, so it started cool, but it's going to feel good. You still might want a jacket as you're heading out the door, but you can leave the raincoats at home until much later in the week. A park is a great place to head to, and I'll tell you what, you want to get there today or tomorrow because 70s for highs are going to be long gone. I'll show you the big change in our weather pattern coming up, Brian.
Tracking some delays right now heading out of Cary and into Raleigh on US 1 northbound. We have a crash on 440 eastbound right around the Jones-Franklin Road interchange. And those delays on US 1 northbound begin all the way back around the Cary Parkway interchange. It's slow through Walnut Street and I-40 all the way up to Jones-Franklin Road. Allow some extra time through there. Try to pick up 440 eastbound from Melbourne or from Western Boulevard to get on the other side of those delays. We also have a crash on 55 between Fuquay-Varina and Anger right now. This is around Fairway Green Drive, not too far from Holland Road. Seeing some pretty heavy delays in both directions at 55, Michelle.
Thank you, Brian. Governor Roy Cooper will share his priorities for his final 2 years in office tonight as he delivers his State of the State address happening at 7 p.m. Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson will deliver the Republican response. You can watch both live on WRAL and on WRAL News Plus. And Harnett County's Board of Education will hear a presentation today on buying new weapons detection systems for schools. The discussion comes after 2 loaded guns were found on campuses last month. Next on Fox 50, the plea for help from Wake County's animal shelter as space runs out. And ahead on Today, Chance the Rapper is live in Studio 1A.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Gorgeous sunshine this morning on Hay Street, right by our Fayetteville newsroom. I'll show you a nice warm up this afternoon and how long that will last.
This was about anarchy, and this was about the attempt to destabilize.
Plus, a coordinated attack at a police facility captured on video. The reason officers are giving for the assault.
And why you can expect to see gas prices rise in the days ahead across our area. Just when I thought we were about to get under that $3 mark for a gallon of regular gas, it's going the other direction because of the summer blend. I'm Jeff Hogan. It's good to have you with us.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. We are starting out pretty nice. I did need the jacket this morning coming in. It was pretty chilly, but we're going to warm up into the 70s today. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner here with a beautiful look over the DBAT this morning.
Isn't it gorgeous? We have so much pretty sunshine out there this morning. We've climbed to 48, which in my book is still a little bit on the cool side. But, you know, if you're in the sun, it feels pretty good. We did start with a lot of of 30s on the map this morning, but now we're starting that nice warm up. 48 currently in Fayetteville, 47 Goldsboro and Rocky Mount, still 41 in Roxborough, 47 in Southern Pines. Here's a look at our forecast hour by hour. A quick jump into the upper 60s at lunchtime. We climb into the low 70s this afternoon. And if you love temperatures in the 70s, get out there, soak it in today and tomorrow, because we see a big pattern change starting Wednesday, and it may be quite some time before we see 70s again.
Thanks, Elizabeth. After a rash of threats and guns found on school campuses across our viewing area, today another district is reviewing whether to install weapons detection systems. Just in the last 3 weeks, 2 loaded guns were found in Harnett County, one at Irwin Elementary and one at Star Academy in Lillington. WRAL's Laura Levine is in Lillington with what leaders are doing to keep schools safe.
The Harnett County Schools Board of Education today will get a look at a few different security options, and the goal, obviously, is to protect students inside these school buildings. These are the weapons detection systems under consideration. I reviewed the 10-page presentation, and it shows an open gate system and an evolve system that has double lanes with multiple alarms. These are some of the options that are being thrown out there. Now, this discussion comes after a string of threats against schools in surrounding counties, mainly social media threats. But last month, Harnett County Schools had 2 very scary incidents. Just last week, a student brought a loaded gun to a school here. This morning, we learned Nash County Schools is set to be the latest district to beef up security. A school board member says tonight Nash Schools will finalize a plan to spend $1 million to set up weapons detection systems at every high school in the district. Security upgrades are already in process in Wake, Granville, Johnston, and Person County schools. Johnston County is in the process right now of installing a weapons detection system in all of its schools. However, Wake school leaders say they have no plans of installing metal detectors in their schools. Again, we'll get a better look at what could possibly be coming here to Harnett County Schools when that meeting begins at 6 p.m. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Lillington.
Tonight, we'll get insight into Governor Roy Cooper's priorities as he enters his final stretch in office. You are looking live at the General Assembly, where the governor will deliver his State of the State address before a joint session at 7 o'clock. We'll be looking for themes such as education and racial equity. Climate change may also be a big focus. Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson will deliver the Republican response immediately after the governor's speech. You can watch it live at 7 p.m. here on WRAL and on WRAL News Plus. And you can get WRAL News Plus wherever you stream, on the WRAL News app and on WRAL.com. It's also available on Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257. You can also listen to WRAL News Plus on the radio. Go to 99.3 in Raleigh, 96.5 in Durham, and 101.5 HD3 across the entire triangle.
Breaking news we've been following. We've learned in the last 90 minutes a 5th person has died after a fiery crash that happened yesterday on Highway 13 in Cumberland County. This is right at Hayfield Road, a rural area between Eastover and Wade. Troopers say the driver of an SUV ran through the stop sign on Hayfield Road and right into the path of an oncoming tractor trailer. 5 people in that SUV were thrown from the vehicle. At first, we were told 4 of them died. The 5th was airlifted to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Troopers told us around 7 a.m. today that person has died. The driver of the tractor trailer was also taken to the hospital but is expected to recover.
Separately, 1 person is dead after a crash on Lake Wendell Road in Johnston County. It happened just after 8:30 last night between Wendell and Archer Lodge. The WRAL breaking news tracker was there. Authorities say a Ford Mustang crossed the center line, hitting a Toyota SUV head-on. The SUV driver and her passenger went to the hospital, but their injuries are not life-threatening. The other driver died. Their name has not been released yet.
New this morning, a coordinated attack on Atlanta police, and now dozens of people are detained. Atlanta police released 2 videos on their social media page showing the attack right at the site of the city's future police training center. One shows a group throwing large rocks and bricks, Molotov cocktails, and fireworks at police officers. The other shows destruction to a piece of equipment. No officers were injured.
This was a very violent attack that occurred this evening. Very violent attack. This wasn't about a public safety training center. This was about anarchy, and this was about the attempt to destabilize.
Authorities say many of those will face charges, and many of them were from out of state.
The closure of a busy intersection near the state fairgrounds could start tomorrow after being delayed this weekend. Crews were planning to close the intersection of Blue Ridge Road and Hillsborough Street this weekend. However, the DOT has postponed that work because of weather. The plan is to make Blue Ridge Road pass underneath Hillsborough, the railroad tracks, as well as Barrel Road. The DOT says it's all part of a larger construction plan to make the intersection safer for people attending events in the area.
AAA says the nation's gas prices are rising and they're expected to get higher in the coming months. The national average right now is $3.40 a gallon, up 4 cents from a week ago. Right now in North Carolina, the average price is $3.13. It's about the same as last week. In Raleigh, it's $3.18. Fayetteville is $3.05. AAA says we can expect those prices to go up a little bit more when producers switch to their more expensive summer blend of gas. That blend is intended to lower emissions during the summer travel season when a lot more people are out on the roads. It is more expensive to refine, though. It adds another 5 to 10 cents a gallon to the price of gas.
This morning, we'll learn what are the most common scams impacting people here in North Carolina and how you can protect yourself. Attorney General Josh Stein is holding a news conference at the Department of Justice at 10 o'clock this morning. It's part of how state leaders are working to protect North Carolinians from fraud during National Consumer Protection Week.
Work begins today on the next phase of a big development in Chapel Hill. A groundbreaking is scheduled for 11:30 this morning at the University Place Mall. These are sketches of the plans for that area. Once it's finished, the mall will include new retail, restaurant, and office space, as well as hundreds of apartments and hotel rooms. The first step is demolishing the old Southern Season restaurant, which closed in 2020.
Transportation will be in the spotlight today as Durham County commissioners meet in less than 30 minutes. Commissioners will get updates and take votes on a series of transit-related items. That includes the future of a partnership with Go Triangle and another organization covering Durham County, as well as Chapel Hill and Carborough. Commissioners will also get an update today on the development of affordable housing and efforts to reduce gun violence. It all gets underway at 9 o'clock this morning.
We're coming up about 20 minutes to 9 and still ahead, remembering a rock and roll legend, how the music world is reacting to the death of the last original member of Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Plus chaos inside the cabin of a Southwest Airlines flight captured on camera, the unusual reason for the emergency landing.
And we're tracking a calm start to your week weather-wise as you look live. Wilson, the whirligigs sitting still. It's very calm. Will it last, though? Your 7-day forecast, part of what's next.
Good morning to you, Beaufort. Check out this gorgeous view. Time now 8:42 on your Monday morning. Makes Monday a little better just by looking at this photo here. We are starting off a little chilly this morning, but temperatures are going to warm up really nicely. A nice day to get out on the water if you can, Elizabeth.
Yeah, we took a shot of Lake Gaston a little while ago. It just looks absolutely beautiful. Get outside if you can the next couple of days. Today and tomorrow, highs will be in the 70s, but winter is making a comeback starting Wednesday. A cold front will push some colder air in, and that's the beginning of a change in our pattern that could last for the remainder of the month. We're also watching for some showers on Friday. Saturday's trending colder if you're starting to make plans for the weekend. Saturday should be on the drier side, but we keep those chilly temperatures into the weekend. Goldsboro, Apex, Chapel Hill, all looking beautiful. This is a look, of course, at Fayetteville, our newsroom there. Chapel Hill, courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant. This high pressure system brought us lots of sunshine over the weekend, but our highs were mostly in the 60s. High pressure systems have winds that rotate clockwise. So when the high moves east of us, we get into this flow that comes out of the south. So that's why it'll be warmer for us today and tomorrow. Eventually, this front right here swings by, and ahead of it will be nice and mild today and tomorrow. But once that front moves through, watch the color contours change over to blue, and that chilly air is going to be with us for a while. High pressure will build in, and with the high pressure system back to our west, we're back into a northwesterly flow coming right out of Canada. We're going to see the cool air lingering through the weekend, and then we get another shot of even colder air by the middle of next week. So we're going to be stuck in this more winter-like pattern, at least for the next couple of weeks, if not longer. Here's a look at the rain that's headed our way for Friday. We'll stay nice and dry for the rest of the week up until Friday. As a matter of fact, Friday morning still likely to be on the dry side. There's Thursday during the day ending at 5 o'clock, kicking things off dry on Friday, but by 5 o'clock we start to see that rain sliding in. It's probably going to be a dry morning commute, but a wet evening commute. And then the cold front swings through early Saturday morning, and we should start to dry out behind that. So 70s for the next couple of days, but then after that, it's colder in the morning and in the afternoon. We'll hit 35 Thursday morning with a high of 61. Now, for reference, our normal high is 60 for this time of year, so we're very close to that Wednesday and Thursday. Friday looks chilly and wet, and then temperatures are closer to normal again on Saturday and Sunday. I think we've just been so used to the 70s that getting back to normal is going to feel pretty chilly for us. Also Saturday, we push clocks ahead 1 hour before we go to bed. We spring forward, we lose an hour of sleep, but it will be light later in the evening.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. A motorcyclist is recovering after a crash on Lewisburg Road in Raleigh. It all happened at the Spring Forest Road intersection. The WRAL breaking news tracker arrived on the scene to find the motorcyclist lying in the street. Police say the motorcycle struck the back of a Hyundai sedan. The motorcyclist was treated for minor injuries. No one else was hurt.
People in Northern California and the mountains are waking up to treacherous conditions after a powerful winter storm went through there. At least 3 ski resorts in the Lake Tahoe area are closed. Heavy snow and dangerous driving conditions have closed the ski resorts. A winter storm warning remains in effect for much of the area until later this morning, as those snow showers are expected to move in and continue. Forecasters expect another 2 to 4 feet of snow to fall in the next 24 hours.
And here in the WRAL Live Center, Jeff, we're staying in California, but this time is South Bay residents still in the dark a week after powerful storms moved through that area. This is what residents in South Bay are waking up to again this morning. More tree clearing equipment, power company crews trying to make repairs. Many trees toppled by power lines. The downed trees have also made it difficult for the power company to get in to access many of these neighborhoods, as you can see from this new video, into our newsroom as well. The recent storms also caused significant damage to roads, washing away some roads completely. That's what's happening in South Bay.
My goodness. Thank you, Ken, for that update. A station master accused of causing Greece's deadliest train crash in history will await trial in jail. The 59-year-old testified for hours in front of a court yesterday and was charged with homicide and endangering transportation safety. Prosecutors say the man directed the 2 trains that crashed head-on onto the same track. At least 57 people died in the attack, most of them in their teens and 20s. Greece's government has promised safety changes and an investigation. And a massive protest in response to that deadly train crash ended in clashes with police in Greece. New video shows officers using tear gas. They say a group of people started throwing items, including firebombs, and injured 7 officers. However, the protest stayed mainly peaceful, and more than 12,000 people attended.
New this morning, we're getting a look inside the cabin of a Southwest Airlines flight that made an emergency landing after birds hit an engine. What a scary scene. You can hear the screams inside, the smoke all around in the cabin. The flight was headed for Fort Lauderdale, Florida, but had to return to Cuba after birds hit an engine and the nose of the plane yesterday. Fire broke out in the engine. The plane was able to land safely. Officials say no one was hurt.
An urgent plea from the Wake County Animal Center. It's asking people to consider adopting as it nears maximum capacity. Right now, the center has 135 dogs waiting for permanent homes. Another 20 are with foster families. On top of that, appointments to surrender pets are fully booked through mid-April. That means another 130 dogs will be coming into the shelter over the next 6 weeks. Adoption fees for dogs are $95. That drops to $25 for any dog that's been at the shelter for more than 2 weeks. Those fees include the spay and neuter surgery, microchipping, and updated vaccines.
The music industry is mourning the loss of the last surviving founding member of Lynyrd Skynyrd. Stars including Travis Tritt posted on social media sharing condolences for the family of Gary Rossington. He was the original guitarist for Lynyrd Skynyrd. The band announced his death last night. He had battled a number of heart problems, including an emergency surgery in 2021. Rossington was 71 years old.
President Biden will address the International Association of Firefighters in Washington today. He's the first president to do that in 2 decades. The association is calling for a number of changes to protect the health and safety of firefighters across the country. One big concern, the forever chemicals in firefighter gear known as PFAS. Those chemicals are linked to liver and kidney cancer and many other illnesses.
We need to address it in making sure that there's alternatives to PFAS, that the gear that we wear to protect ourselves in the public isn't signing our own death warrant.
President Biden signed a bill last year to stop any future gear purchases with PFAS once a commercially available option is on the market. But advocates are holding a rally tomorrow in D.C. to urge more immediate action on finding safer alternatives.
Around 20,000 people have already put their names in to get compensation for being exposed to contaminated water at Camp Lejeune. Brian Yennis shows us that it's estimated nearly 500,000 veterans and their families stationed there between 1957 and 1987 got seriously ill.
It really pisses me off.
Peter Romano of New Jersey remembers his time at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina as a Marine in 1984.
It was either the hose or the water fountain. That's pretty much how you cooled off after the runs.
Everybody needs water, but you guys especially on that base.
Everything revolved around the water that was on that base.
Romano believes it was the contaminated water that permeated the grounds of Camp Lejeune since the 1950s that caused his testicular cancer and hepatitis.
The hurt that I feel inside with regards to what they did, it's really...
You feel betrayed.
Oh, 100%. I just don't understand. We're all Marines, so we're all serving the same flag.
According to a 2014 CDC report, the source of the contamination was due to the waste disposal practices of an off-base dry cleaning firm. Romano has recently joined one of multiple class action lawsuits against Camp Lejeune. The Congressional Budget Office has estimated that payouts to claimants will amount to about $6.7 billion through 2031. San Diego-based attorney Andrew Van Arsdale is part of the legal team representing the plaintiffs.
So you literally have hundreds of thousands of Marines and their families going through that base during this time, all exposed to this toxic water.
Patricia Regent and her husband, who was a Marine corporal, moved to Camp Lejeune in 1970. Decades later, she developed bladder and kidney cancer. Her husband had bladder cancer as well, despite no family history on either side. Patricia got pregnant with the couple's daughter, Jody, while living on base, but moved before she was born. Jody recently developed metastatic carcinoma and has been told it is a terminal prognosis.
You become overwhelmed with guilt over the fact that, why is this happening to my daughter? Let it happen to me, not happen to her.
I don't want her to feel guilty. It's not their fault. That's where my dad was stationed and this is happening.
As Brian Yennis reporting, the U.S. Navy says it is making initial contact with those who have filed claims, but so far none of those claims have been settled.
King Charles III is apparently trying to bring his family back together. The Sunday Times reports Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have been invited to the King's coronation. They haven't said if they will accept the invitation. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex removed themselves from royal duties more than 3 years ago. King Charles's coronation is scheduled for May 6th at Westminster Abbey.
Former Duke basketball coach Mike Krzyzewski is sharing his thoughts on March Madness. Chris Wallace asked him who he thinks will win it all without Duke in play.
Who do you see cutting down the net?
Well, Duke.
No. You still can't say Duke.
Johnson.
You can't say Duke.
No.
Houston, Purdue.
I think
UCLA.
I think probably Houston has the oldest team, and they play as good a defense as there is.
Okay, so there you go. The Final Four, anyway. If Duke's not included, he said Houston, Kansas, Purdue, and UCLA. So I think he likes Houston's defense. I don't know, currently ranked
I was just
going to
say,
right
what's
now.
your pick?
I don't know if I'd go against that Zach Edey dude for
Yeah.
Purdue. He's like 7 feet 4. Whoever he plays for, I'm with him.
Me too. All right, here's a check at your winning lottery numbers. We'll get another check of weather and traffic next.